If you turn to page 63 in your book, page 63, you might have noticed right below the quote that I also included in the keynote, if teachers have more opportunity to interact socially, they build friendships. If teachers have more opportunity to interact professionally, they build partnerships. Right below that boxed text is where the collaborative integrated service delivery is introduced to you. So you will notice that the framework that I showed during the keynote is now analyzed item by item. So there is a section on joint planning, and there are some suggestions, some guidelines, some co-planning basics. You could follow along. On page 65, and you could add some more post-it notes. If curriculum mapping and alignment is something that is most intriguing to you, there are some suggestions, some frameworks, some templates right here. On page 69, we talk about parallel teaching and give lots of examples. All of these examples, the bulleted list at the bottom of page 69, are examples that Maria and I have observed or practiced as co-teachers. Page 70 gives you examples of co-developed instructional materials on all grade levels from kindergarten through 12th grade, or most grade levels. On page 71, we're going to revisit this on day 3. We introduce a tool that we developed. We call it SWELL, because it's really swell when you sample work by English learners. And you take a look at that piece of work, whether it is an essay, as I said, a project, anything that the student produced from 4 dimensions, or from 4 perspectives: linguistic, academic, cultural, and social emotional, truly looking at the whole child. And there is a whole framework on page 72. If you're really intrigued by this idea of collaboratively analyzing student work, there are multiple other pathways as well that you might wish to engage in. These are all protocols. The point is that the task is so complex and intriguing that just looking at student work without any kind of guidance might not yield you the results that you're hoping for. So using protocols for new teachers who are just newly starting to collaborate is very helpful. On page 73 is where we start talking about co-teaching. And you will find all the 7 co-teaching models explained, hopefully in a very accessible, succinct way, just a chart, a diagram, and some explanation, until you get to page 81. We're going to revisit the 7 co-teaching models tomorrow. That will be one of our goals for tomorrow to do. And 81 is where we start the non-instructional activities, such as joint professional development. Lots of different options here as well: collegial circles, peer observations, collaborative coaching or mentoring. We mentioned many of these things, so if you hope to get some more specific ideas how to do that, you could look through chapter 4. So chapter 4 truly is the core of the entire book. That's why I suggested that you would go there. And if you feel that you want to bring back something to your administrators, we're going to give this out on day 3. The National Association of Secondary School Principals asked Maria and me to write an article for principals. And they were very specific. They knew of our book, and they said, can you put that entire book into one article? And we said, sure. Sure. And that entire book, or rather, well, we cheated a little bit. We took chapter 4 and turned chapter 4 into a leadership style article in which we speak to administrators on how to ensure that the elements of this framework are well supported administratively. So that's what this article is, and we're going to give it to you later so that you could bring it back to your administrators or also look at it yourselves. So back to the elements. Teacher research is there. Page 84 is one of my favorite tools. I don't know if you have found it on your own, the 2+2. when I co-teach with Maria, co-present every single session, we actually use this. We say 2 things that went really well, 2 things that we're going to change for the next group. It's as simple as 2 plus 2. But you could be very specific. That's on page 85. What target areas do you want to use for that 2 plus 2? So these collaborative explorations, collaborative inquiry groups are also wonderful ways to enhance your co-teaching. I've seen on the Padlet a question board that some of you were asking about what to do next. If we're already a well-established co-teaching partnership, how could we expand our practice? And my recommendation is that you use some of these tools that you might not have used, or better yet, which is where we're going, you create or adapt your own tools that make the most sense. So action research is also discussed here, as well as lesson study from Japan. And finally, any additional joint parent-teacher conferences and any additional extracurricular activities that you could use collaboratively or do collaboratively are presented. So the final task for today is going back to the tools that you wanted to adapt. We would like you to be very productive and proactive. How could you make sense of all this information, but really also develop ownership? What would you change? And I'd like to just give you a blanket permission. Please change anything and everything you want in this book, because that's what results to true ownership. Rather than thinking that I have to take this tool or that page and do it exactly as it is in the book, I found that the more effective way of working collaboratively is when partners look at something that's available that has been tried somewhere else, yet look at it critically, analyze it critically, and say, we have to do it differently, we have to do it better. So we have about 10 minutes for do that, maybe 8 minutes. If you could just collaboratively or on your own choose 1 or 2, or we said 2 or more, depending on how much time you have, and call us over. All 3 of us are going to be circulating around the room. I would love to chat with you and support you in this work of making sense of all this material and selecting a couple of really critical tools that you feel you will be using in your classroom. Okay? So we'll check back just 5 minutes before our time off is today. We're going to wrap up the day, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so your job is to analyze and adapt appropriate tools.